Manifestations.
Man up.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and
Man up.
inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
Man up.
Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform. A
Manifestations.
place where we inform, build, and
Man up.
inspire.
You gotta eat what you kill. You gotta go out there, you gotta hunt for your meals.
We all have that ability to connect with people, to be that motivational person
Man up.
in somebody's life.
You gotta let people know there's certain lines you don't cross, and that there's gonna be consequences if you do.
Man up.
If you are an adult and you are in a relationship, that person's emotions are not your responsibility.
Man up. Manifestations.
Man up.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and
Man up.
inspire.
The devil, during slavery, destroyed the masculinity or manhood of the so-called Negro. No man. No man. Right now you got to be trained all over again to be a man.
When someone is obligated to do something, it is binding upon them to do it. And failure to do it causes reaction.
Man up.
Position make you rich. I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life forever.
If that people knew their glorious past, if that people knew their glorious past, if that people knew their glorious past, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us.
A place where we inform, build, and
Man up.
inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
Man up.
Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform. A
Manifestations.
place where we inform, build, and
Man up.
inspire.
You want to tell me about yourself? Go get your friends. I'll tell you who you are based on who your friends are.
Don't just live and die. That's an ugly existence. Make your life matter, make your life count. Live a life where people can actually mourn you for the things you left behind, not just because you were around and existed.
We need strong black nuclear family.
Yes. Yes.
That's what it is. Mother, father, son, daughter, all in the same house with a focus on the family unit as a whole.
We had Tulsa, Atlanta, New Jersey,
Rosewood.
Detroit. We had Rosewood. We had Black
Overtime.
Wall Streets all over.
The Republicans aren't for us, but the Democrats aren't for us either. And we should have no alliance to any political party. We only have alliance to what is in our own best
A
interest.
place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
Man up.
Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and
Man up.
inspire.
At the end of the day, as men in the community, we
Man
must
up.
stand together and be counted, because people look to us for guidance, leadership,
Man
and
up.
protection. And if we are not about that business, we are not on our job.
Man up.
Here we have grown-ass man conversations in the spirit of that purpose.
Man up.
Anthony Malcolm, Bobby Drake, Major Gage.
Man up.
We are. This is Manifestations 2020.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and
Man up.
inspire.
All right. Welcome to another week of Manifestations 2020. I'm here with my boys, got them in the building, Major and Bobby Drake. What up?
What's happening?
Yo.
We
boys
here.
like y'all boys like y'all sleeping. Y'all all right over there?
We here, man. We always here. We ready.
Okay. All right. I want to make sure y'all out there.
We stay ready like Freddy.
All
You
right,
already
that's
know.
what's up. That's what's up. All
Stay
right,
ready, ain't got to get ready.
all day, every day.
On
All right,
game.
so we're here for another great week, another great episode. As you already know, that the title tonight's show is Companionship or Partnership. I've been hearing a lot of talks lately. A lot of women feel like that the direction they want to go in is pretty much the one where they might not want to be with somebody due to either being frustrated in the dating scene or just being so toxic that they don't want to change their ways to find a compatible mate, or they just gave up because they had so many bad experiences with dating, relationships, marriages, whatever the case may be, and they just want to ride out the rest of their lives, without anybody by their side. We all have options. We all have choices. If that's the way you choose, that's your path. So be it. We just hope that you're happy on your journey and you're not one of the people that say they want that way and then get online and then berate and belittle people that are out here seeking real love in the process. So we just want to make sure that people stay in the proper lanes that they want to be in. And the other side is partnership, where we talk about the marriage, people that with long term that do want to find love, that do want to get together with somebody and live out the rest of their lives with. These are the folks that really feel that they need the opposite sex in their life. Men that feel like they need women, and women that feel like they need men. That kind of masculine and feminine energy and chemistry um, can play out into a long, healthy, and joyous life, knowing that I have your back, especially when the world out there doesn't have your back. And also, your children have their own lives. So, a lot of times, a lot of people depend on their children to go and help them, take care of them when they're older because they don't have a mate. It's unfortunate that we don't want to try to put that type of burden on our children. So we want to make sure that we have each other to help each other out in the process while we do get old and the children can live their own lives. So that's the basic dynamics between the two. So tonight we just wanted to chop it up and see what was on the mind of the general people and see what direction do you feel is suitable for you. So I'm going to start with my boys and ask them, Major Drake, what is the direction that you guys are looking for? Major, you already chose the partnership, so I'll just go ahead and let you talk about that. Bobby Drake, do you feel like you want to go into companionship or partnership?
Honestly, I'm looking more to heading in towards companionship.
Oh, okay.
I know that there are some women who are more inclined to go towards partnership. And to be honest, I don't have issue with either one. If it was up to me, I would go with companionship. But I wouldn't necessarily ask a woman or find us incompatible if she was leaning towards more partnership, provided that her mentality for that, and that's what is key to me, provided that the mentality doesn't have her going towards partnership based on trauma responses. So if she wants to go towards partnership, and the same can be true of companionship as well too. There's something that goes. There's drawbacks that can come with both of those depending on the mindset of the people in them. Partnership can be a negative thing if the woman in the situation in particular wants to go partnership because she has a fear of being isolated. She has a fear that she's going to be abused or financially neglected by a significant other. So she wants partnership to keep control because she's afraid of what will happen if the other person has more leverage or has all the control in the relationship. So as long as that's not the issue, the reasoning behind it, then partnership I'm okay with. Companionship is great as well too, but you have to check the mindset involved there. Is the desire to be a companion and not a person that's contributing in that respect? Does that come from a mentality of entitlement, well, where I shouldn't have to do anything because I'm the woman? It's his job. My job is to just sit here and look pretty and just basically be a flower in the garden and bloom. His job is to water me, and my presence is the present for the most part. If that's the mindset where that's coming from, then that's an automatic hell no. So if the perspective of the person is healed and healthy and whole, then either one is fine. I would lean towards companionship more so.
Now, I want to switch it because I think tonight I want to be specific on the topic itself. I think it can be taken in the different directions. When I put up the companionship and partnership, I was more talking about partnership as marriage and companionship as a lifetime bachelor or a lifetime
Oh, you mean
bachelorette.
like
I'm
Yes.
glad you
long-term
clarified that.
boyfriend,
I was
girlfriend?
going to
Yes.
ask
There we
you
go.
before I answered
Yes.
what you meant by that.
Yes. So it's more like, do you want to be a lifetime bachelorette or a lifetime bachelor, or a partnership you want to go head into marriage and on that business mindedness as per se. We're talking about
Oh,
two healthy dynamics. We're
man.
not talking about anything negative tonight. Two healthy dynamics in that direction.
Let me take my jersey off. I'm making a switch to partnership.
All right.
All
Yeah.
right, cool.
Partnership all day.
All right, that's what's up. I am leaning towards partnership. The companionship, it gets boring after a while, especially if you're a person that's in the growth. The more you grow, especially intellectually, you get away from your old ways. You're not the old nigga in the club anymore. You don't want to be that nigga, and you just want to get to the next level. Because there's different levels of life, and I think partnership, being on that level with another woman is another form, another compartment, or just like, with men, we like to play video games, right? So all the guys out there, even young adults, let's put it in the form of video games, right? There's different levels that you go to in order to, you have to unlock a different level every time you continue to grow in the game. So the partnership is basically another level of growth. It's another level that you opened up, because you can be a person who is a companion all day, every day. You only have to worry about yourself. There's no feelings or anybody else. It's just all about you. But when you get into partnership, that's a whole nother ball game, because now you're not only responsible for yourself, you're responsible for your mate as well. Especially coming from a man, you're responsible for your queen. You're responsible for her protection, inside and outside the house. So there's different levels of it that you haven't tapped into if you haven't been on that level. So I just wanted to get a little bit more grasp and find out tonight, the people, what direction you're going in, because I hear a lot of chatter on either side of the post. So I was like, you know what? Let's figure out what side people want to get on. So I land my plane on that and give it over to you, Major, because I know you have the dynamics of the partnership. And let us know what transferred you into that too.
Yeah, man. Definitely partnership by the way that we're defining partnership tonight, because companionship is also a part of marriage. Is comprised of both partnership and companionship. There are elements of both, but by the definition that we're using tonight,
correct.
Whereas we're kind of being innovative here. I'm going to go with partnership for sure, because at the end of the day, I always say this, man. People are not meant to be alone. And for me, if you're not completely embracing the essence of a relationship between a man and a woman by, marrying, then to me, you're still alone. You know what I mean? Like, as far as I'm concerned, people make all the excuses in the world for not getting married. But they seldom make the case for getting married. You understand? And I see that constantly. I know women personally, more so women than men, but I know women personally, and so does my wife, who wanted to get married all their lives, and then, they get with some guy who really ain't about shit and allow them to mind fuck them into not wanting to get married no more. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, you wanted to get married all your life. Now you with some dude who don't want to get married, and now you don't want to get married.
Correct.
What I'm saying is sometimes people are very disingenuous with, the things that they say either because of personal experience, or because of someone else's experience or aversion to wanting to commit. You understand that? That's what it really boils down to at the end of the day. People can talk all the shit they want to talk. If you have a problem with marriage, to me, and really just not even to me, just more broadly, you have a problem usually with commitment. People will go around, you got your Cam Newtons and your Nick Cannons and all these people, they'll go around having babies with 100 women, but don't even have a conversation about marriage. And to me, that's particularly dangerous because marriage insulates you. Marriage is something that says, on paper and with an action, with a very deliberate action, it says, I am serious about this person. Namely, as you mentioned before, the man being very serious about his woman. You understand? You can talk all the shit you want to talk. If you got 6 kids and you ain't married, you ain't really serious about any of those women that you had them kids with. And that's just a fact. You know what I'm saying? Women, broadly speaking, have this issue with being rejected. Women never like to accept that they're rejected. Women never like to accept that they were rejected. When a nigga have a kid with you and don't marry you, you're being rejected. Often. You understand what I'm saying? Very often, more often than not, you're being rejected. If she's good enough to have a child with, she's good enough to marry.
Correct.
And when we start all the excuse making, that's where niggas just lose me. It's two things that, a lot of these so-called alpha males out here have a problem with me with, because I have no tolerance for it. And that is the lack of wanting to marry and take women seriously, and this idea that black men specifically can't be faithful. That's all bullshit. If you want to have more than one woman, say that. If you want to just have a partner and not marry, okay, say that. I don't agree with it, but you're entitled to it. But when you start talking about that's not something that we're supposed to do, you understand what I'm saying? That's where I have a problem.
Soft.
That's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And I check that shit at the door every time I'm talking to somebody who's on it. We need to get off of that. We need to have, as I said in the intro, strong black nuclear families that we can build around, man. I mean, that used to be the cornerstone of the community. Now people don't even value marriage anymore. So, yeah, we got a long way to go.
All right, that's what's up. I did want to show that there is a lot of people going in that direction. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said with tonight's show, we wanted to see what direction people are going in, because it is a serious issue. We're having a bunch of divided homes across the nation. We also have a bunch of divided minds across the nation. And right now, it seems like the propaganda of feminism is starting to pick up speed on, leading our women in a direction that's leading them out of protection. Because at the end of the day, when you line up with your man, your mate, your husband, you have a line of protection. If you're somebody's wife, no man is going to come in and disrespect you. I don't care how soft that dude is. Even if he can't fight, he's going to pick up a gun and shoot that dude over his wife. So you are losing a lot of sense of protection. And the way this world is going, we have so many fathers and uncles and everybody else that's dying off unexpectedly so quick that you don't have your own protection from your own family members anymore. A lot of them aren't living long ages like that to be around to protect you. So it's very imperative for you to line up with somebody to get that added protection for the rest of your life, and just little things that need to be done. The handyman, as much as you women love to go around here and say y'all can do it, and I'm glad that a lot of y'all could do it, but guess what? You have to do his job as a man and your job. So you're taking on 2 positions. Then when you go to work, you're taking on another 2 positions because you're a woman. So that means you're going to have more workload to do because everybody's piling it up on the woman. So why not at least come home and have a man that is there to cater to you, to protect you, to exude emotional intelligence. You know, those simple things take a lot of weight off your shoulder, but a lot of times that's not what is being projected into the media, and that's what you guys are getting is the false illusion version, and not the real deal issue of what's really going on. So I want to show this meme right quick, and then you fellas tell me, is this something that's problematic, or am I just pretty much blowing it out of proportion? All right, here we go. 45% of women estimated to be single and childless by 2030. Recent data predicts that 45% of women between the ages of 25 and 44 will be single and childless by the time 2030 rolls around. The number of single women in the U.S. is expected to rise by 1.2% every year. Something to be concerned about, or is that not problematic?
That's absolutely something to be concerned about because it's not natural. You know, and really, if we're being totally honest, feminism and the promotion of LGBT propaganda and so forth, those are all population control agendas. And by that statistic, it seems like it's working at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And this is a formula that, you know, it can't fail in some regards. You know, I don't necessarily think that it's going to be true with regards to women overall. I do think that it's very possible that it's going to be true with regards to white women specifically. And that's just because, you know, I read about this type of stuff all the time. And white women, this is why they're doing all these studies, and this is why people are freaking out and people are panicking and so forth and so on. We already know, you know, that white people have a negative birth rate. You know, those of us that are in the know, we know they have a negative birth rate, and, you know, they're dying off quicker than they can replenish themselves.
Yeah.
And because of that, you know, that's one of the reasons why we have this racism and this fear of, you know, and this white supremacist attempt, you know, to impose all these sanctions on our lives because of this, because of that fear, their fear of genetic annihilation. You know, I do feel that that is a much more pronounced thing with regards to white women. When you hear white women speak online, man, I know brothers think that sisters are real harsh and whatever the case may be. Man, when you hear these white women speak online, oh my God, like they're 10 times worse. They're literally 10 times worse. I specifically went out of my way to join some groups, you know, some of these white feminist groups, whatever the case may be, just to observe and see what it is that they're thinking. Man, these women just absolutely detest men. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of them, of course not all of them, but a lot of them absolutely detest men. And it's not even an idea for a lot of them to have a kid at all. You know, and they're really like, you know, freaking out. And it's because of, you know, the patriarchy and all these other boogeymen that they like to kind of put out there that are oppressing them so much and so forth. And, you know, really, this dates back to slavery days when we first met these people. A lot of us, you know, there was some of us that were here already, but when we first met these people back in the days of slavery, this dates back to then. A lot of those women used to hate those men. You understand? And, you know, that, I mean, the thing is, they stand beside them because they realize that that's how they wield power. But a lot of white women low-key have a lot of issue with their white male counterparts. The difference is, you know, they're not as loud with it as black women are that have those same types of issues with black men. You know, they're not as loud with it. They talk amongst themselves. You know, you kind of gotta be a fly on the wall, you know, to catch some of the stuff. You know what I mean? They're not as, even on social media, generally speaking, The people who get all the buzz and attention on social media are black people, black women specifically. But when you start really peeling back the layers and you actually listen to what a lot of these white women have to say, they are not enthused at all about having kids. Even some, some white people I come across, I just speak to them casually. I'm always, doing a temperature check when I run across somebody young that's white that's in the dating pool. Even the white men, a lot of white men choosing Asian women. So I think that issue is going to be problematic, but not so much for black people. I mean, as much as black women talk all this shit about black men, the ones that do, they sure do stay pregnant a lot. So, shit, I don't know about all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and vice versa, because the guys, the ones of us that like to talk that talk online, we got at least $2,500 in child support. So, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Somebody ain't telling the truth. So I think that over time the relationship
like cap.
I think people be capping. And I think that over time the relationship between black men and black women will get better. Not necessarily because of anything new that was revealed, but because I don't think it can get any worse. So I think that just because of the fact that we got to deal with each other and we're going to keep showing up, if nowhere else but to the bedroom, it's going to have to get better. My 2 cents.
Definitely. I seen it getting better because of inflation. I think inflation has been a big part of the reason why a lot of people got together. Only thing is, I tell anybody, if you're financially depending on somebody else, make sure you're lining up with somebody healthy, because as we've seen in the pandemic, a lot of y'all before pre-pandemic, a lot of y'all were lining up with some toxic people, men and women. And during that time, the pandemic had us shut down and we were isolated and had to be around that person for long extended periods of time. The domestic violence and the rape started to increase at a drastic rate. So it goes to show you that if we don't respect each other, can't be around each other, and violence comes amongst those that are in that circle with themselves. So it kind of opened up a lot of people's eyes. It even opened up my eyes to see that, damn, you really be laid up. When they say laid up with the enemy, it's like y'all be laid up with the enemy. Whatever trauma bonding situation got y'all together, it wasn't a healthy one that connected y'all. Because if that was the case, there would be no spike in domestic abuse and rape and all that other stuff going on in the household, because we were forced to be in close proximities with each other. So that means a lot of times people were lining up with people just for the sake of transactional reasons. And they were out there going around sleeping with whoever they could sleep with. And they build up so much animosity for the person that they had at home that when they had to be forced to be at home, there was so much animosity towards that mate. And they couldn't go out there to their side piece because their side piece had to be locked down as well. So then that rage of I can't go out there to my side piece and I got to deal with your yapping in my ear. And then that created fireworks and started some real toxic stuff to create. So we just want to make sure that you guys are lined up with that way. And I'll land my plane and hand it over to you, Bobby.
I agree with what your brothers are saying. To a large extent, the issue we have is that I really wish we would do as a collective a lot better of picking and choosing what aspects of the dominant society we're going to go ahead and embrace in the body and which ones we're going to go ahead and dismiss. For some reason, I don't know why, but perpetually we seem to love gravitating towards the lowest, most bottom-feeding aspects of not just the dominant society even, but other societies and other cultures. If it's in the gutter, if it's in the trash, if it's soaked and marinated in a fresh raw sewage basting with a little light fecal matter crust with old expired Grey Poupon as a binder, we just seem to love going for that stuff. We just can't stay out the garbage can. We can't stop going after these ideas and principles that are really and truly beneath other people. But the smart, intelligent moves that other people like to wield and employ, it's like vampires and crosses of garlic. We just we just back away from it. It would be different if the socioeconomics were in alignment with these other people, if we had the same mindset. But we fail to understand that these people are different from us, mentally, culturally. They are well aware. They're very well versed in compartmentalization when it comes to how to operate with themselves and with each other. They will, and because you see this not just with the feminism and the red pill groups and whatever, but even predating that, they're very good at being at war and beefing with each other. But when there's an external threat that affects the group, they'll come together like Voltron or the Power Rangers. They'll form that big old Megazord, and they'll go ahead, they'll fight, they'll put all that beef to the side, and they will be so much so on the same page, you would think that everything was all lovely and hunky-dory and peaches and cream. And then as soon as the threat's been put to bed and put aside, all that wonderful unity and the good feeling they had, out the window, now they're back to squabbling amongst each other.
Pretty
but
much.
Never once do they ever lose sight of the bigger picture. And they talk about this. The battle for power, because that's what it is, it's power dynamics between them, it's always about who is going to have their hands on the knife to cut the steak, to cut the cake, to cut the dessert. That's what it's always about for them. It's never a question of the fact that we're going to be the ones to do it. It's just who in the group is going to do it.
Right.
Black people will go ahead and adopt these same mindsets and principles, the feminism, the red pill, everything else. They'll go ahead and adopt those things. However, it's not that same unification of purpose. You have a lot of black people. You have a lot of your feminists, your misogynists, your misandrists. They will go ahead and they got it backwards. They will go ahead and align themselves with those outside of the group, just despite the people inside the group, and that's how we lose power. That's what happened way back in the 1600s. Well, excuse me, in the 1500s, when those big white sails first pulled up to the African coast, and they started going ahead and exfiltrating in the worst way the African brothers and sisters that are over there. Because they saw these people, they did not know who they were, and the people came with the whole, we're coming in peace, trying to get the lay of the land. And that whole entreaty into slavery was basically where slavery was a concept that already existed. I mean, slavery has been nothing new. It's an old practice. But the idea of practicing slavery against people based on skin color, that was something new. Because, you had slavery, what was something that was baked into the cake, and as for prisoners of war, it was commonplace even in European societies. If people were in war and they lost, and you captured the soldiers of the people, you would go ahead and enslave the people. But after a certain amount of time, those people could buy their freedom. They could even become full-fledged citizens of the countries that they were living in. They were even allowed to ascend to political offices and powers in those places. You had people that they were too broke, if they had a debt that they couldn't afford to pay, they would sell their children to slavery, or they would sell themselves into indentured servitude to work X amount of years to pay off the debt. And that's what they got clear. They were using that practice even up to when the Europeans first pulled up into the New England colonies. So slavery was always a thing. It's just the idea of doing it based on the fact that you're black and we're demonizing it. That was new. So when they came up to African people, they said, well, we have these other African tribes here that are enslaved by us. So they're saying, well, we can take them off your hands for you. Oh, you would take them as your slaves? Oh, that is perfect. Thank you so much. We appreciate my light brother. And that's what that was initially, that entreaty. But again, it's the idea of those outside the camp are our friends and our allies against those inside the camp. That can't happen. So until we can get ourselves on the right mental track, those strategies won't work for us. We have to shun the European thinking, the red pill, the feminism. That's not going to empower us. These people play the game of race as a team. It's a team sport. I don't care if you are LeBron James. I don't care if you're Michael Jordan. I don't care who you are. you are not going to be able to be an individual taking on a whole team. Black men cannot triumph over white supremacy. Black women cannot triumph over white supremacy. Black people are the only ones that can triumph over white supremacy. You get slapped down every time. For the basketball heads, we've all seen those games where you had Michael Jordan in his prime going up against whole teams, and if that team properly ran the whole Jordan strategy where they're like, all right, you know what? We gonna let everybody else on the team score except for Jordan. We gonna lock Jordan down.
Mm-hmm.
Or the other way around. We gonna let Jordan score, but we gonna lock everybody else down. We choose one. We're gonna either shut down the team and let Jordan do his thing, or we're gonna shut down Jordan and let the team do his thing. And more often than not, when they ran that strategy, what happened?
They won.
Jordan might get an impressive game, might get a 40-point game, 50-point game, 60-point game, but the team lost.
Right.
They did the same thing with Kobe. Did the same thing with LeBron James, not as effectively because he's a bit more of a distributor. He does a better job of getting his teammates involved. But even he's been subjected to that as well, too. Because hero ball will not win the day against a team. So unless we're able to get to a point where we're able to have our little internal tiffs for power, but when we see an external threat come together and say, you know what? I'm going to deal with you in a minute. Let's go ahead and handle business over there. We don't need to be doing the nonsense. We can't afford it.
Yeah, well said. Greatly broke down. I totally agree. You know, those are the things that we have to really analyze and look at overall. I do want to say that you got to be careful when it comes to. I saw this advice right on somebody's page. I thought it was great advice. And we talk about, you know, I know Major brought up Nick Cannon and Cam Newton. But this is great advice that I think everybody should do. And I noticed that I see a little bit more women doing it more than men. And I need men to do it more than just as much as women, or even more than women, right? Because we end up getting burnt a lot in the long run. But a lot of men, you guys need to start practicing this a little bit better. We can be a little bit better on this. And that is, after a breakup, right? The loyal one stays single, deals with the damages until healed. The other one is already in another relationship. Right?
Come on, somebody.
So I need us
Come
to
on, somebody.
start. I need us to start doing a little bit better of healing before we go out there into the next relationship. You know, even if you were the one that got wronged in that relationship, figure out what, because I told people this before when I had got cheated on by my ex. And I told people, you know, it's easy for you to blame the other person, but what is it? What signs did you have that you allowed that person to get to that level? See what I'm saying? You can always say, yeah, they cheated on you. Yes, they did cheat on you. They violated in their realm. But when it comes to what you did, now, why did you allow somebody? Why didn't you see the signs of something? You get what I'm saying? So it took a lot of reflection. And then I had to do some self-healing, and I also had to go, and I went through Relationship Academy, you know, to rebuild yourself. It's, you know, one thing I tell people all the time, like, just because something bad happens to you, you don't have to let it crush you. You don't have to go into that direction that it's bringing you into. Sometimes it can be a halt in your progress. It's a moment in time where, you know, you go time out. And we always watch the little movies when people say time out, and then everybody stops, and the person that's the main character is able to walk around, think about stuff, and, you know, whatever the case may be. Even Flash does it a lot, right? The Marvel character Flash does it. And a lot of times in life, sometimes that happens. You get a timeout moment where you got to stop. Everything is still rotating around you. Everything is still moving, but you got to stand still and analyze before you make your next move. And sometimes we don't do that. We don't take that time to sit back and get ourselves together, which meaning therapy or whatever the case may be. And a lot of times we only think of therapy to get in order to fix something, but therapy can also prevent things like that to happen. So we have to get in the habit of trying to do therapy before things happen. That way it won't get to a point where if it does happen, it, whatever that case might be powerful enough to basically throw you on a track that you might not be able to get back on. So before that even happens, let's try to get ourselves assessed the right way, align ourselves up the right way. So that way, it's just like a tune-up in a car shop. You're getting a tune-up, your car come in there a little banged up, raggedy, sound a little ticking in the engine, but you go get that tune-up, and now you back brand new. You ready to run the road. Acceleration is up. It's not sluggish. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with your body, with your life, getting that readjustment, that realignment, that tune up to get you generated back on the road again, on the direction of, on a fast direction of where you need to get to. So I think we got to make sure that we are doing our part as well as men. I just wanted to bring that little gem and nugget, and then you guys, I'll pass it off to you guys.
Whoa. That's a heavy one right there. That one was charged, man. Let me tell you something. I hear you. I just want to make sure I go back and touch up on something that you said. And I understand that line of logic, but I am diametrically opposed to that shit. As far as, what did you do to allow the person to get to that point? Man, it's not your fault that somebody else is an infidel. Bottom line.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
It's not anyone's fault that someone else is an infidel. The same way that they made that decision to go out and cheat, they could have made that decision to come and talk to you about what it was that was causing a problem. And or they never intended on being faithful to begin with, and they just been an infidel. You have people who are really like that, both male and female. They think that it's okay to cheat. They don't think it's a big deal. So I have to really push back against that particular point, because an infidel is an infidel is an infidel.
I agree with that. The problem is, I already separated that. I didn't say that was your issue or your fault for them cheating on you. I'm saying there's things that we overlook even as men. Same red flags, same signs. There was things that I look back in hindsight and said, you know what? I was blindsided by something else and didn't even realize this, even though it was in my face. So I take accountability for my actions on that eventually led to me in that position in the long run.
I hear what you're saying, but you still sound like you're taking. It's one thing to take accountability for not seeing the signs that allowed you to be vulnerable to this other person victimizing you. I think that's what you're saying. Is that what you're saying? Because it sounds like you're also saying, I could have done something to prevent this person from cheating. And
no. See, I think you're taking it the wrong. I think it's all off. But go ahead. Go ahead.
So okay, that's fine. If that's not what you're saying, then I'm reading it wrong. Okay, that's fine. But I just want to make sure that I let people out there know that may be taking it the same way that I'm taking it. That's not the play. But okay, respect to that point. But that particular meme was it was spot on, and I don't think that I tend to have a different view on that too. I tend to think that it's actually mostly women who have this problem, from my own personal dating experience and from the other experiences of people around me. Yes, I do get you. Men do tend to, I guess, get out there and start banging other chicks and play in the field again, whatever the case may be. But women get into relationships more when they're unhealed, I think is my point. Men, either way, we're still dealing with healing, right? Men tend to deal with people sooner and have more shallow relationships with women earlier and more often, right? But women overall tend to get into whole ass relationships without having fully healed from their prior relationship very, very often. You know what I'm saying? Even some of the sisters that have called in here, when you look on some of their timelines, they talk about this stuff, when I look back, blah blah blah. I mean, women will go and get pregnant behind somebody before they're healed from their last relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that women do it on a much deeper level, which to me is more dangerous. Because if you're just banging, you just broke up from a serious 5-year relationship, and you go out and bang this chick, and you go out and bang that chick, whatever the case may be, and you don't have another relationship until a couple years later, that's a little different. Still not cool. I still don't co-sign it, but that's the behavior that I kind of see in men more. Whereas a woman, will be totally unhealed and take all that trauma into another serious relationship and do some permanent shit like marry a dude or have a baby from a dude because of what they were missing from this other dude. And it carries over, and then that dude comes back and you got a whole clusterfuck. You understand what I'm saying? Because it was never resolved. You still got that those unresolved feelings that are still there that bubble back up, which strangely enough leads to stuff like what you were talking about, where you say your ex cheated. Usually it's the cause of some shit like that, particularly with women. Men kind of cheat because a lot of these dumb niggas just think they are supposed to cheat, you know what I'm saying, for whatever stupid reason. But with women, it's a lot deeper, and it usually comes from...
Man wasn't designed to be monogamous.
Yeah, you know what they say
what
all
it
the time.
is.
They say it all the time.
If we were supposed to be monogamous, brother, how come we can ejaculate and get women pregnant every day? You have to understand, man. We must be monogamous.
Yeah, that's some old red pill manosphere bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like it's just not, it's not based in any type of reality. So like, anybody who's new here who happens to be watching, we're kind of the rebirth of the manosphere, what the manosphere should have been, because we actually think about what we say before we speak. And I'll let my plane.
I do want to say, as far as when I say the reason why I say I see it in men more is even growing up, like the natural response when guys are out here and they either get played, they got their girl left them, they got cheated on. The natural response that their homeboys say is, "Fuck that hoe, we about to get you another bitch," and they go out there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, like, in that aspect of it, I want to cut down that type of narrative from the fellas to say, you know what, hey man, let's go fishing, let's talk about it. Let's get more into your in tune emotions, because a lot of times a lot of men right now are being dogged out because they spend a lot of time with their homeboys, and they're not really realizing that a lot of times men aren't really comfortable with telling people about their issues, but their homeboys, because their homeboys don't judge them like that. We may joke around and be like, stop acting like a punk, but that's within our circle. But outside of that circle, you really can't go to nobody else without them really humiliating you like that. So your homeboy will give you some good advice and tell you, or try to get you up out of that slump, put you in, hey man, come on man, you're gonna go out with me, I'm gonna take you out. So they say, oh, you spend money on your homeboys. Yeah, because you don't know what his homeboy was going through. His homeboy was real low. And like I tell people all the time, when it comes to men, he's responsible for everybody's happiness. But if the world crashes down on him, the only person that allows him that space is his homeboys. So, I just want, to add another dimension with the homeboys. Like, let's start getting on some real, hey, let your feelings out. Let's work through your pain in a more therapeutic level versus just saying, hey man, get up on that bitch, boy, it'll be all over. Like the norm that we always hear. That's all I wanted to say. I'll land my plane. Go ahead, Bobby.
Great.
Agreed. No, I picked up what you were putting down before because I'm of the same mindset, Ant. There's been several different mantras and ideologies that I've picked up along my years that have just, I can't put any better. It's just served me well, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's just served me well in a number of respects. One of the things that I've always adopted or understood is that the fact that when it comes to the world around you, right, you can't control anybody or anything. You know,
Correct.
the next second is not promised to you. And people are probably even more unpredictable than the weather. At least with weather, there's certain signs. If there's a hurricane coming, we have radars that can detect it. You have about a couple weeks in advance notice if there's a storm formulated. And they could even determine what the different paths or routes it might take. They know if it's going to go west or east or whatever, how strong it's going to be. Tornadoes are a little bit more unpredictable, but there has to be certain weather conditions for a tornado to happen. You don't just sit around one day, it's bright and sunny, all of a sudden a tornado pops out of nowhere. Earthquakes, even more unpredictable, but usually certain areas, there's ways that things are predictable, but people, you can't swear for 1 second with a lot of human beings out here.
Yeah.
So you can't really control anything, and definitely not anyone, but there's always one person that you have 110% control over in all aspects. There's one piece on the board that you can always control, and that's yourself. Mm-hmm. So for that reason, I always, no matter what happens, even if it's a situation where I know that another person has wronged me or has done something or something's happened, and I know that there's 100% that I couldn't have done anything with it, I still always have to look within first, because even if I couldn't have done anything to fix the situation, I can always adjust how I see the situation, how I respond, or how I react to it. Because as long as I look at that, I always got to move and play.
Correct.
I always got something in the deck I can pull out. If I can't control anything else, I can control my mindset, how I think, how I respond, how I react to it. And if I didn't operate, or if I didn't respond or handle it in a way that I know was optimal, or if I later on realized, you know what, I could have done that better, I could have seen this, or there was something that I could have done, or there was a different way I could have gone with it, I have that to fall back on. So the next time something like that happens, I got a better result, which means I can get a better outcome, even if only slightly. Correct. So I'll do that. After my breakups, I've gone, even when I wasn't the person at fault, I've gone and I've sat with myself and said, you know what? Let's revisit this. Let's look at this. Forget 360. Let's look at this 720 degrees.
Correct.
Let's take a micro view. Let's take a macro view. What was I responsible for? What could I have seen or done different? And that has made all the difference in my life. And that's, honest to God, why, and I don't say it to brag, but a lot of the situations my homeboys have had or experienced, a lot of shells that they've caught, figuratively and literally speaking, I seemingly just watch them whiz by and they don't hit me. Not because I'm so amazing, not because I'm such a great, awesome person, not because I'm better than anybody, but simply because I have that trace integrated court vision. I get cockeyed on them, and because I've taken those steps, I at least have a half a step advantage in a lot of respects.
Correct.
So another adage that I've adopted that's very similar to that is that mantra of, it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility. So something might have occurred and you weren't the person that's responsible for it, but you can still take responsibility. You can still take ownership of it, and you can take that step to go ahead and take control of the situation. And so I look for areas where I can go ahead and step up and take responsibility of situations where, even if I'm not the person who caused the mess, I can now control the outcome to my liking. There's power everywhere if you know how to take it or where to take it. And it always starts internally. So in those situations, even if I don't have to, I can literally just sit back and you know what? This is on you. I will still find ways on where I could have done something differently, or at least an option, an alternative in this respect. And this person that served me really well in my life in a number of respects, professionally, personally, and it's definitely kind of stepped up that level of regard that I get, where I get a lot of respect because people understand, even, hey, he might not be the person for foolishness, whatever, but I know this person is dependable, this person is reliable, this person has insight. And the reason why a lot of people come to me and ask me questions or seek advice for things for me is because I've done that work where I can have options. I give people the game that I would give myself. I give people the game I would go back in time and give my younger self. And so, like, wow, you know so much. No, I've just made my share of mistakes. I've seen people make their share of mistakes. And I do like the analyst on Sports Center. I'd chop it up. I'm like, all right, let's look at the footage. Hey, yeah, he could have done that better. Yeah, he's a little sloppy there. He could have, if he just tweaked this, made that adjustment, ran that route differently, maybe have got. It's not guaranteed, but he had a better chance. He had a better percentage of coming on the other side with it. So I'm definitely an advocate of that line of thinking. Always look within first, and then once you've cleared yourself, I know I'm good. There's nothing I could have done better. Now we can look outside.
Correct. And that's the point I was trying to make. Is like you can't really control somebody else's habit or what they want to do, but you can also give yourself added protection for future, so that way you can see some of the same characteristics or something that you normally would have overlooked. You say, "Nah, I'm not overlooking that," and it makes you more keen to the situation. No different than a football game, right? Even though the team won, they were real sloppy in the game. But when they go in hindsight, they say, "Yeah, we won, but nah, we should have been better than that." And they go back and they analyze, and then when they analyze, they like, "Oh shoot, the guards weren't pulling the way they should be pulling up front, and that's why we were having so many issues." Or the communication wasn't going on the defensive end as tight as it was supposed to be. So you know what? Let's tighten it up for the next game. So the next opponent is going to be twice as hard for them to even get the same progression as the other team did. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I just wanted to.
You know what? The coaches that I like in all sports, regardless, the coaches I like are the ones who, and typically, not always, but usually they're the coaches that tend to be better or have very successful track records. The ones who, even when they're winning, even when they have maybe they just had an amazing blowout game, they won 100-80, or they won 4 touchdowns to 2, whatever. Even with all the hype, all the excitement, you won, they will still sit back and they never let anything faze them too much. They'll look back and say, "Yeah, we won, but we did a horrible job with XYZ." They'll find something where they're like, "You know what? We did not execute to our standard here. We need to go ahead and tighten up on that." And I think it's not so much about just being a Debbie Downer where you just can't enjoy and appreciate the moment, but it's about not getting too carried away in any given situation. It's about not letting your lows, the saying goes, never take, paraphrasing, but never take defeats to the heart and never take victories to the head. Always stay in the middle with that. So we did a good job, but did we do a perfect job? No. So keep chasing that perfection, and even if you never get there, you're always going to improve. A lot of people that are undefeated or have amazing track records, they tend to hit a losing spell when they get to a point where they think, "Okay, well, I'm winning, so I don't have to do anything," or "I'm great."
Correct. Definitely. All right. Well said. I want to get into there's a danger that I think a lot of men need to understand. When you run across these women, there are some women out here that haven't been in the dating game as long, or they've been out the dating game for a long time, and now they reassert themselves in the dating game. There's a lot of women out there that say they haven't been in the dating game for 6, 7, 8, 9 years. And I'm noticing whenever they are speaking on podcasts, or they call into a radio station and they're talking, or they're on these dating shows, I notice a lot of bad, out of touch rhetoric that comes from their mouth. And I'm like, their behavior, their body language, the ideology. So I want a lot of the guys to understand and know when you're dealing with somebody that a woman like that's just jumping back in, because a lot of them will have like little indications and they'll say little things that just irritate them. And then you are being a comforting man, you're exuding emotional intelligence, and it's not going to work for these women because they come in the game so not smooth. they're coming in rough, outdated, and it causes a lot of confusion and a lot of rift. And I saw this one, and this woman is pretty stacked, right? So I saw her video. I saw her video. Well, it wasn't a video, but I saw her post, and this is what she posted up. She said, "I just thought about something. I've been single for 11 years, and I wouldn't know how to be someone's girlfriend, right?" And then she has these pictures, right? So a guy is looking at her and like, damn, boy, she's stacked. But just the fact that she came out and she publicly said, I've been single for 11 years, I wouldn't know how to be someone's girlfriend, is a red flag. I'm sure there's guys that's probably in the inbox trying to get with her and things like that. But you're setting yourself up for a very rigid road with this woman, because if she doesn't know how to be somebody's girlfriend, it is going to be very hard for you to get her in that mindset, especially if she's been conditioned for 11 years. It'll definitely be a hard road for her to get that mindset and get conditioned into the way you wanted to function. So you guys, Major, what you got to say about that one?
It's sad, bro. It's really sad and pathetic, if we're being totally honest. And I'm gonna tell you straight up, man. Like, one of the things that I'm thankful for as a man, and always have been thankful for as a man in the dating scene and on the dating realm when I was there, is the internet. You understand? Yeah. Because that woman is severely damaged. You dig? And women are very good with masking their damage. They're so sweet to you, and they're so nice, and they're so kind and cooperative and so forth and so on, and very shapely, and you overlook all that shit. Correct. But see, you can go online, and I got hip to this real quick. You can go online, do a simple search. What's her name? Da 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 da. Boom. You bring up her webpage. You see some low energy shit like that. Run fast and run far.
Exactly.
That's all I'm gonna say, because she's telling you at the door, I ain't shit. That's what she's telling you. I don't know how to be somebody's girlfriend. That's a cop-out. What she really means to say is, I'm not trying to be nobody's girlfriend. I'm a bad bitch. I got titties, I got ass, I got this, I got that. I'm a bad bitch. And what they say, real ass bitch, give a fuck about a nigga. That's what she's trying to say. She's a city girl. So low
She's
energy,
a city girl.
low quality bird. You know what I'm saying? And like, guys, we gotta stop playing in the trash. When we see shit like that, we gotta know what it is. She's putting herself out there, on display. She don't look no different online than a woman walking on 79th, a hole in the track. She looks exactly like that. And see, this modern feminism shit, they want to come along and tell you, oh, there's nothing wrong with a woman dressing a certain way. There's nothing wrong with, running around half naked. There's nothing wrong with women acting raunchy online and presenting themselves like whores, which is bullshit. And unfortunately, a lot of women are buying into this because they like the rebelliousness of it. They like that, they get to live out this fantasy of just being free to do whatever they want. Newsflash, nobody can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
The president of the United States can't just do whatever they want. You understand what I'm saying? There are consequences. And what I try to tell people, especially women, when I talk to them about this type of stuff, the way that you present yourself to men is everything. People who are in the know will tell you that 75% of communication is nonverbal. So if you're running around here half naked with a bunch of tats, you understand what I'm saying, with this exaggerated look, I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there with the fuchsia and bright orange weave and the drag queen eyelashes and all this old shit. You running around with this extra over the top look. What you are telegraphing to people is that you behave like other women who have that look. You understand what I'm saying? And when you go to the strip club, that's what you see. And you know, if y'all not up on game, I'm from Miami, let me let you know what it is. You understand? Most strippers are escorts. You understand what I'm saying? Hell, some of them don't even get to escort nobody. They just go right back to VIP. What you think VIP is there for? You understand what I'm saying? They sucking and fucking for money. That's what it is. You understand? Not all of them, but a lot of them. And they're the women who look like that. So to the women who want to be seen as wives, to the women who want to be seen in a respectful manner, why do you want to comport yourself the same way that the whores do? You got to ask yourself that question, and you need to understand that when you put yourself out there, the image that you're projecting is going to inform how a lot of men are going to correspond with you, how they're going to approach you, and the way that they're just going to overall look at you. Most guys, most quality guys, aren't even going to look at her a second time. As shapely as she might be, as beautiful as she might be, most quality guys, operative word quality, they're not going to give her a second glance. And the ones that do are just trying to hit and split. That's what it is, because of the way you put yourself out there. And, you know, you got people out here like Amber Rose doing a slut walk, you know, and every female rapper who's out, they got a whole genre for just I'm a hoe rappers. You dig? And they're pushing that image. Well, you see it all the time. Well, hell, if I see this all the time, it must be okay. It must be the thing to do. I'm going to have hot girl summer. You know, I'm going to be, what does Megan Thee Stallion talk about? She got a whole song talk about thought shit. Yeah. Shaking ass on her thought shit. It was a hit record. Who you think is buying them records? Young women. You dig? So yeah, it's like you said, you're gonna crash out. It's a road to nowhere, and women need to understand that. That ain't it. That's not how you get a man to respect you. You know, the low energy ones will argue the other end because I can hear it already. Well, nigga gonna cheat anyway. Nigga ain't gonna respect you anyway. It don't. I've heard supposedly intelligent women that we know say this stupid shit. That's why I don't really talk to them like that no more. You know some of the people I'm talking about. Well, nigga just gonna cheat anyway. No, that low energy nigga that you chose is gonna cheat anyway.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there are good, solid men out here, and they're looking for good, solid women. And unfortunately, a lot of y'all, you know, you want the wifey attention. You want the wifey provision and protection. You want everything that comes with being a wifey, except you don't want to behave like one.
Correct. I'm glad you said that. All right. So here's somebody else. Here's somebody else that wrote something similar to that. They wrote dating a woman that has been single for a while is rough as hell. She's ready to break up with you over anything. You left the cap off the toothpaste. I can't do this anymore. You're disturbing my peace. So, I mean, it sounds sarcastic, but it's really real. You know, these are the things that really are talked about. You know,
those are the Good Morning Beautiful chicks. You remember a few years ago? Well, not even a few months ago. We had a whole thread where women were trying to make excuses for women that had a problem with men saying "Good Morning Beautiful." Remember that?
Correct.
That's them.
You're right.
You know, yeah.
So I want to get into this video real quick because Major said something that was very, very important, and it led up to this video, which was conduct yourself as a woman. All right. You got to understand how to conduct yourself as a woman. So before I get into this video, I want to give you guys this meme. In a relationship, you can't just do whatever you want to do. You always have to consider how it will affect your partner. And that's what this generation don't understand. What a great segue. What a great segue to get into this video.
Y'all know you from somewhere.
swear I feel like I know you. What's your name?
Paige.
Nope, I don't know the same.
Is it?
George. Nice to meet you.
Nice to
So,
meet
do you
you.
play out here a lot?
No, clearly not.
Your first day?
That's my second day.
Do you love it?
I mean, I like it.
Do you
I will
love it?
I will love it when I get good at it.
No, you gotta love it before you get good.
I don't know about that.
It's love, then the goodness comes later. Nice to meet you. Paige. What's your name?
Travis.
Travis, I'm George. Sorry to interrupt your game.
Oh, no, you good, brother?
Now, see, she was doing too much. I know a lot of y'all might think this was cool and giggly. I ain't with this. Keep it pushing, my man. I'm not about to sit there and have you having no general conversation with my girl when I'm standing right there. I think his girl is out of pocket for even having that conversation. You shut that down. As soon as he say, hey, do I know you from somewhere? No, I don't know you. And then he try to continue the conversation. Well, you know what? I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just want to finish up playing tennis, golf, pickleball, cucumber ball, whatever the hell that was. I just want to finish doing this with my husband. That's what I would expect my wife to do, because she wouldn't want me to have a conversation with some random chick come up to me. Because let's be clear, he may have thought that was her trainer or just some random white dude. He was trying to holler at that chick, and she didn't shut it down. Me personally, I would have had a problem with that. But what about y'all? What y'all think? Would you have had an issue?
All right, so definitely some valid points there. Drake, you want to tackle that one?
Definitely do. So, well, yeah, I was going to go back to the earlier point that you made, because that was very, very profound, but it all ties together. I agree, yes and no, that that whole idea of, the woman saying that she's been single 11 years, she doesn't know how to be a girlfriend anymore or a significant other anymore. I would say that on the surface, what she said is actually not a cop-out, is actually very legitimate. Because like anything else, we have to understand that being a partner, being in a relationship, it's comprised of a number of different skills. That's the reason why so many people are absolute shit at it, why so many people struggle at getting it right about being a good mate and significant other, because it's not a magical status that happens. It's in order to qualify for this position, like any other job, right? It calls for a number of different skills in order to execute it effectively. If you're going to be working if you're going to be an accountant, you need to be good with numbers. You need to be able to process, run calculations. You need to know what calculations to use in what situations. You need to be familiar with different requirements for different businesses or for different situations. You need to be able to run the numbers for taxes, all the different things that come with that. And there are different levels. All accountants aren't created equal. Some are top level, are able to manage and keep the books for huge top level firms and corporations. Some are more on the personal side based on their skill sets, whatever. But you have to have skill sets to do the job effectively. Relationships are no different. If you're a poor communicator, if you're unable to go ahead and meet your partner's needs and wants, right? Maybe if you're lacking in certain areas of desirability, things that would attract more qualified people to you. Maybe you're short if you're a man. Maybe you're overweight if you're a woman. Maybe you're lacking in the sexual department. Maybe whatever the case may be. There's certain skills you have that are going to improve your performance as a significant other. And like anything else, you can practice all day long. You can study footage. You can do whatever. But there is no better practice than the game itself. At some point, you got to get out there and execute. That's the only way you're going to really know if you're effective. If you've been single for 11 years, right? Especially if you haven't been even engaging in any sort of romantic dating or getting to know people, whatever, that's a lot of practice that you lack. That's a lot of rust that you got. Now, I say that because I believe that's legitimate. That's something we have to take into consideration. That's why you have a lot of people saying that, well, I don't want to be in a relationship anymore. I like my peace too much. Most of those people, if you check with them, they've been single for a very long time, to where they are so out of practice, they no longer want to go ahead and put in the work and improve. And that's where I think what you said comes into play major, where it's a cop-out. She said that she's been single for 11 years. She doesn't know how to be a girlfriend anymore. What are you doing to go ahead and fix that?
Right.
Are you talking to any mentors? Are you reading any books? Are you what materials? What are you doing to take in so you can improve that ability, so you can get over that hump and that hurdle? But if you just said, like a matter of fact, I've been single too long, I don't know if I can be a good girlfriend anymore, with nothing that you're doing to fix that, now it's an excuse. There's all kind of advice that you have. There are a lot of crackhead, junky people out here getting information, insight, but there's also a good number of solid people who have good insight, good relationship game that you can pick up, metrics that you can work on, or habits that you can build, where you can go ahead and get those skills, or you can at least be in a position where you know what you need to work on. But self-awareness without a game plan and desire to improve really doesn't mean nothing. It just means that you're aware of how full of shit you are. You're aware of how woefully inadequate that you are. That's all that means. It just means that you can't lie to yourself. But if you don't actually have a plan or a desire to take the self-awareness that you have and make something pop off, really, what's the point? You need to be able to execute. To what that brother said, absolutely. Out of pocket, if that's the case, that sounds like a person who is sorely lacking relationship skills. Maybe they've been single for a little while, or maybe they're just disrespectful. So, should she do better? Absolutely. But I would say, just based on the verbiage he's using, if this is your wife and she's this way, bruh, she was like this before y'all got to the altar and said, I do. She wasn't just entertaining dudes while y'all married. She was doing that when y'all were dating and talking to each other too. Right. So if you overlooked those flags, or you weren't in a position where you could see this happening in real time, or worse, you saw this and still said, you know what? I see that. That's disrespectful, but yeah, that ain't about to start. That ain't about to stop nothing. Well, at that point, now, at that point, I'm no longer looking at her. I'm looking at you. Because she's being who she is. She hasn't been deceptive about who she is. You've seen her and how she gets down. You know that she does this. For you to go ahead and jump in the game later on and act like it's a problem or something else, I saw a real good sister. That was the other thing. There was two things I meant to send you, and the other one's a video. Was a little late in the game for her. But there was a sister who talked about she had a bottle of vodka and a bottle of orange juice, and she did a wonderful breakdown about how if you went ahead and got with vodka, don't come along now later on in the game and start expecting to have the properties of orange juice. That don't work. You got vodka. It has certain properties. It's gonna get you lit. It's gonna get you drunk. It could be mixed with orange juice.
Yeah.
And maybe you can add a little orange juice in and maybe get some of the properties of orange juice, but it's never going to be that. But if you got with vodka, you're an absolute idiot for expecting it to be orange juice.
Correct.
So believe what you see, do your vetting, do your due diligence. And when you see certain things, don't try and explain them or start coming up with a reason for no. You saw what you saw. Now you have the power to decide. The power is yours, like Captain Planet said. So what you do with that is up to you. The power
I don't know how to.
is
Oh, go ahead.
No, that's just.
I don't know how to follow that up. My man's quoting Captain Planet and shit. Wow. Whoa, that's heavy.
The power is yours, Major.
That was a bit much there. Okay, well, yeah, that second lady, man, like she was totally out of pocket. You know what I'm saying? And women need to be very cognizant of this. Because women don't think the same way that we think. Men often think from one of two positions, and I'm going to start talking about this more because not enough people realize this about men. We often think from one of two positions. One of prey and one of protector, right? So often, and I don't mean prey in a predatory sense like we're trying to rape somebody and no shit like that, but I'm saying like prey in terms of this woman is my prey. I'm going to try to get at her. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to try to, we could say conquer versus protect, right? So the guy who's saying that to her, she doesn't realize, or maybe she does realize, but more often than not, they don't realize that these guys are putting out feelers sometimes. Maybe it's just an innocent question. Maybe he's putting out a feeler to see how she's going to respond. And if you respond on some bullshit, well, now you signal to him that you're weak and he can kind of come in and have a conversation with you. You dig? And that's what a lot of women don't get, that because they're not men, and a lot of them don't care about how men think. They don't interpret things correctly, and that's what gets you in trouble. You understand what I'm saying? Like, hey, don't I know you from somewhere? Nah, I never met you. Okay, that should have been the end of it. You know what I'm saying? But then, when she wants to go on and have a conversation and kaka and kiki, some guys will say, well, you might want to check the dude. No, you want to check your lady because she talked too damn much. Back in the day, my great-grandmother, Fannie Lillian Gilbert Campbell, R.I.P. to that sister. That was a powerful lady. And I can remember I must have been 7 or 8 years old. And just out of the blue one day, she told me, look here. You be real careful about them girls. She from Lynchburg, Virginia. She had a real country-ass accent. You be very careful about them girls that be showing other men's teeth. What? What are you talking about?
That's that Southern game for real.
Just listen what I told you. When you grow up, just listen what I told you. Think back to what I said. Be very careful about them girls that show other men's teeth. And I didn't get it then. I mean, I was a kid, right? And then when I grew up, I started to see, these women always always showing teeth, always smiling at some other nigga.
Batting eyelashes. Yep.
Batting eyelashes, smiling, acting like they don't know what they doing, all that old shit. I dated a woman like that once. You know what I'm saying? And like, I remember we went out somewhere. I left her ass at the club. I literally left her there. You know what I'm saying? Because she was being disrespectful, just a cheesing and just a smiling and batting eyes. And I'm like, all right, well, shit. I hope you find a nigga to take you home, because I'm sure as hell not. I'm not telling everybody to be like me and just leave people places.
Yeah.
Rude like that, and I don't give a damn. But you gotta have that energy. You dig? Like, you just gotta have that. I done put people out my car. You start acting up, you gotta go. Get out right now. And I don't play that shit.
But Major, that's toxic.
I know.
You can't do that.
It's the
You have been soggy this. You have been soggy this.
Patriarchy, the toxic masculinity, the patriarchy. I'm a cishet straight male. You dig? I'm learning all the terms now. I'm a cis heterosexual male, and therefore I am, the root of all evils in the world. But let me tell you something. I'm not gonna put myself on the other side of some bullshit for nobody. If I put you out of my car, it was for your safety. You understand what I'm saying? I look, bro, and it could be just as simple as not getting your feelings hurt. Maybe I'm not gonna get physical with you, but boy, by the time I finish talking to you, you don't feel a way. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, dude, I got to the point where I ain't have to do that, because I could spot those type of women a mile away. I could look at a web page and I could tell this is a low energy hood rat. I can't be bothered. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling y'all, brothers out there, I don't give a damn how good she looks, how fat her ass is. Reserve your energy for a queen that's worthy. And I'm going to land with that.
Definitely.
It's not worth
all
it.
That other shit is bullshit.
That juice is never worth the squeeze, man.
Never.
Well said. Well said. Want to get into, I saw a great post that this wife gave her husband.
Okay.
Before I get into it, I do want to share this powerful quote. A woman with street sense, book sense, and common sense is untouchable. Y'all agree with that?
Absolutely.
Untouchable? Shoot, she gonna be in the next Marvel or DC movie.
Absolutely.
She's a superpowered being. What you talking about?
That's beautiful.
Here's the quote, the post that this woman made about her husband. She says, being transparent, rare for me, but happiness allows me to share. This man right here, Jeremiah, has shown me only what it looks like to be loved, cared, and committed, loyal, supportive, and provider. Something that has taken me so many years to find. to be trusting enough to let my guard down and believe that it's out there. The icing on the cake is to have this man by my side from the moment I went into the hospital room, the operation room, till they were going to release me. It has been an extremely emotionally to the final exhale. I feel confident enough that I can do so. Baby, I love you. I appreciate you. And thank you for being there with me through all my pain. My irritability and frustration, just know that the possibilities of us are endless. He's mine, and I'm going to stick beside him. Thank you, God. And here is Jeremiah up in the operation room day and night, waiting for his wife to make sure she's good. Here they are again at a game, Dolphin game.
Nice.
Here they are on an
I
outing.
love to see it.
On an outing with their child. They went to the gun. They went to the gun range.
Amen.
So that's his wife shooting. That's him putting his gun together to get ready to shoot. That they're on an outing again. They thugging it out in the hoodie in the cold.
Right.
So that's them. And I just want to show these videos, and then we can get to it real quick.
Had an older lady tell me a real man is not going to be ruled by a woman. Don't go down the path of expressing criticism, disapproval, and an ultimate lack of acceptance for your husband because it may cause rebellion. She's telling the truth. A real man is not going to allow himself to be a pushover to the woman he has chosen. Men with their sense of manhood and integrity and dignity intact have this innate desire and need to not be subdued and walked over. A real man is not going to be ruled by his wife. It insults his sense of manhood. Women who have succeeded in breaking their husbands such that their husbands allow their wives to rule over them, those are ultimately men who they find themselves no longer attracted to. At an older lady.
Say is learn the Gottman theory. What's the Gottman theory? The Gottman theory is whether a marriage will last to 5 years, 7 years, 15 years, or they won't last at all. And it's through identifying what he calls the 4 horsemen, which is contempt, stonewalling, criticism, defensiveness. And if you have all 4 of those things in your relationship, it is guaranteed to fail. And so do you have contempt? Do you think you're better than your partner? Are you critical? Are you constantly picking at what they do wrong, or are you celebrating what they do right? Are you defensive? You can't hear anything that they do try to say to you for a place to actually grow because you're so defensive, protecting who you are and how you see yourself. You can't even understand how that person may see you. And lastly is stonewalling, where you shut down. You don't even communicate. Now it's like talking to a wall. If you have those things in a relationship, all 4, you are certain to fail.
Master P need his ass whooped.
I'm starting to feel like the man is really the prize. I don't know why.
Hey, girl, now.
I'm starting to feel like men are really the prize because literally as a woman, we have to wait on the man for everything. We have to wait on the man. We have to wait on the man. We can date whoever we want, but we can't marry who we want.
One of them says,
stepping into the marriage, you have to wait for the man to ask you to marry him. You have to wait for the man to ask you to be his girlfriend. You have to wait for the man to ask you out on a date. All these kind of things we're waiting on a man to do. Like literally.
How about you have multiple? So you're not waiting on nobody.
I never did, because most women, they're dating a lot of guys. Yeah, but they have that one guy that they want who don't want them. They're dating all these other guys on the side because they're trying to distract themselves. But realistically speaking, they want that one guy who was taking forever to claim them.
That's not how it is.
Yes, I've always felt women were the prize.
You should know that you are the prize.
I've always felt that way. Don't get it twisted. But if you think about it, I'm just trying to be more realistic, be more open-minded in my thinking. That's the reason why I'm saying that. If you're gonna ask the man to marry you, by all means do so. But I'm just saying, like, as far as like waiting for a man to like ask us to.
All right, so she broke that.
Hold up. That last one got me excited, boy. And you're like, yo, pull out the stick. She pull out the stick.
Let her cook.
What?
Let her cook.
I wanted to put that compilation together, to show that, what you shouldn't be doing for, you could lose a man based on the stonewalling and doing all this other stuff. also going over trying to, when you have a guy that's out there and you're being the one that's overpowering him, and it sounds and it seems good and everything like that, but like she said, at the end they don't really respect you. And I'm not trying to, I've never been on a person going on Russell Wilson at all like that. But I saw this, Russell Wilson had posted this the other day. This girl said, to look this good after pregnancy is crazy. And then Russell commented, so crazy, she's ready to have another one. My thing is, listen, sometimes I just feel like you're not being man enough to take adaptation to your craft. Like the Steelers really need you right now. They don't really need you on social media trying to be up under everybody comment to defend your woman like that. Like there's a time where you can put on the off season, put your girl on the pedestal, rent out the what was that, Waffle House? Yeah, that's all fine and dandy. But get down to the means of business of doing what you got to do as far as your job as starting quarterback. Your play has been crappy since been to Denver. You're getting you left from Seattle to Denver, and now you at the Steelers battling out with what's his name, Justin? Is that the Justin Fields? Yeah, battling out with Justin Fields for the starting quarterback. Like, start being more manly in your craft, focusing on your craft. I'm not telling you to take away from your woman, but you need to start being a man and hold your ground down on your field, on your craft, and your girl is gonna be there. She's gonna be there. Don't be all up in the ass like that. Because like the girl said, sometimes that shit backfires. It looks good now, but when you start to fall off, you're not that football player anymore. You're not in the limelight anymore. The relationship can't take another turn. You know what I'm saying? So just be mindful of that, and I'll land my plane on that and give it back to you guys.
Bruh. You gave me a montage right there, gang. Whoa. Listen, I mean, there's so much I got to remember each one of them. I mean, the first one, just to go through it real quick, I love the way that sister just kind of was very bold and unapologetic with it. Real men will not be walked all over, period. You know what I'm saying? And if we're being totally honest, real women neither. But to stick with the point of what she's making, because a lot of these women, they want a guy that they can walk all over. And then when they get a guy they can walk all over, they get mad because they don't respect him. What are we doing here? You understand what I'm saying? I usually cringe when I hear a woman say, a real man blank, whatever. It's usually some bullshit, but she's spot on. It's usually some bullshit, but she's spot on with it. A real man is not going to tolerate that. So ladies, when you come into these relationships, you need to come in the spirit of respect and cooperation. If you're not, you don't even need to bother, because when you come with all this neck waving and, you can't tell me nothing, this, that, and the third, you're defying the whole purpose of why you're there. Women are always complaining they want a man to lead. They want a man who can facilitate. They want a man who can teach them something. Then when they find that type of man, they don't know what to do with him. All right? So that's it for that particular clip. Then the next clip, that sister's always cooking too, by the way. She was talking about, the 4 different types of attitude issues that you can have in a relationship, attitude deficiencies that you can have in a relationship that can destroy your relationship. And basically, over a period of time, it's guaranteed to fail because you have these 4 different personality flaws. And she's spot on, and you can see this in people on a very basic level when you talk to them. Again, you can weed out most of these things in vetting. I talk about this all the time, how my wife, one of the reasons that I married her is because she knows how to be humble, admit when she's wrong, and apologize. And added bonus, the shit don't ever happen again. Dude, do you know how rare that is to find in women? Because the world teaches them that they're always right and that the sun rises and sets at their ass cheeks. So it's very difficult to find that in women. And when you find that in women, that is a gem. You know, you can build with someone like that. I'm the same way, by the way. So neither one of us are on some, oh, I'm too great, you can't tell me nothing shit. That's why we have a very successful marriage. And people are always asking us, damn, well, how y'all, you know, how did you know she was the one? How y'all, you know, always look so happy together? It's because it's authentic. And part of that is because neither one of us is too good or beyond correction. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of women need to check themselves in that capacity because they're just not there. And the last one, when that sister was cooking, boy, I mean, yo, that sister deserves a prize of some sort. You dig? Because when she starts talking about how women really do legit have to wait on men to ask them on a date, wait on men to ask them to marry, you know, and she said something very key in there, you know, yeah, we can date all over the place, but, you know, if it's somebody that we want to marry and he don't marry us, we can't marry him. And she's spot on. Women control access to whether or not y'all going to talk from when you initially speak, and they control sexual access. That's it. Once it is determined that we like each other and we vibing and we rolling and we doing something, the man is the one who controls the tempo and the pace of the relationship. So therefore, you know, in many a way, I'm not really into the prize talk, you know, that the man is or that the woman is the prize, but I understand where that sister's coming from. And notice how triggered the other women around her got when she started talking that way. Know that these are some low quality gutter snipes, because it's okay for you to be the prize, but if a man says that they're the prize, that's totally out of the question. That means that you think that you're better than men, and that's why you keep having issues with men. I see this in women literally all over the place. I can look at a woman's thread on Facebook and tell you why her relationships are fucked up. Real talk. You understand? And a lot of it is because of that, because the media, and let's keep it a buck, your mothers, your aunties, your grandmothers, they fuck y'all up from when y'all like 4 or 5 years old. So by the time you're a grown woman, you actually believe that bullshit they've been pumping in your head. We need to get off of that. We need to tighten up. I need to wrap this up real quick. I don't want to go over my time, but that one got me excited. Okay, I think I'm still in my time though. I'm good.
Yeah.
All right.
You were just in the flow. You just in the flow state.
Come on now.
Get him, Gage.
Yeah. Woo, that was a good one.
Yeah. I liked all that. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because of how I'm orienting myself these days or what areas that I'm tuning into more. But I find myself coming across more and more sisters. Not a whole bunch. Now, let's not get twisted. It's not an avalanche. It's not like I walk in Toys R Us and the whole shelf collapsed on me full of women that have got it. Let's not get carried away.
Okay.
But I'm starting to find myself now where I am at least having these random chance encounters of sisters who seem to understand this and are a little bit more not just honest, but aware of reality more often now. And it's encouraging.
It's good.
You know, it's not a whole bunch, but as far as I'm concerned, if I bump into 1 or 2 a year, that's an improvement, because that's been more than what we've seen in the past. But a lot of women are starting to really now, and I think it's just because of maybe the gap in the generations now. A lot of women are starting to get older now, and they're reaching this line, this point in their lives, whether it's real or imagined, where I guess the perpetual 5-year plan, 10-year plan, whatever you want to call it, the goals, the manifesto, whatever it is that they got cooking these days, right? They're looking at where they currently are for whatever reason they're doing it, and they're realizing that I'm not where I thought I would be or where I should be, or I've been moving a certain way and it hasn't been getting me the results that I've wanted. Despite these different sources, whether it's the media, other older women or whatever, despite what they're saying, I'm hearing that, And I've been trying to match up to that. And I'm absolutely nowhere closer to what they've been saying I'm going to have than not. If anything, it's like I'm hungry, and instead of bring me some food or show me where some food is or even give me a recipe, you just here trying to tell me you don't actually need food. Food is for suckers. What you really need is you need to go ahead and fast. You know this? You ever heard intermittent fasting? Girl, intermittent fasting is so healthy for you. It's gonna have your skin looking good. Your energy's gonna be up there. You know, you go sleep better. And you like, yeah, I hear you. I've been trying. I haven't eaten all day, but look here, bitch. I'm hungry. I want a steak. I want a sandwich. Damn it, I'll take a salad. What they've been told, what they've been sold, and what they actually have are not matching up. You told me you were selling me this dream, and I was with it. You know, go girl power. Yeah, you know, let's do this. I open the bag and I don't see the dream.
Mm-hmm.
I see pre-owned Kleenex in here. And so a lot of women are now starting to come to grips and having to, you know, eat crow and say, you know what, messed up. I thought I was supposed to be this way, and this isn't the case. Some women are seeing this earlier now, thankfully. And they're realizing, you know, just like I said to them, they're like, you know what? I see how y'all moving and what it's gotten you. I don't want your outcome for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And we need more and more of that to catch on, because the reality is these desired outcomes, like you said way in the beginning, Major, we were not designed to be alone.
There you go.
If you want to go the spiritual route, if you want to go the Judeo-Christian route, understand the scripture says that God looked at Adam. Adam's job was to go ahead and name all the animals that were out there in the garden. And you notice that every single animal had its pair. The male giraffe had the female cockroach had the male cockroach, the male lion had the female lion. He's the only creature, the only being that didn't have his complement.
Mm-hmm.
So God looked at him and said, it's not fit for man to be alone. I'm going to go ahead and make him a helpmeet. So from inception, if you want to go along with that, then we see that in a scriptural, in a spiritual sense,
mm-hmm.
being by yourself was never the objective, was never the plan, never the goal. But even from a scientific standpoint, we understand how social human beings are. We were not meant to be alone. And you can say, well, I have friendships that, you know, that sustain me, and that's great too. You need to have friends outside of your mate. But even looking at procreation, that was always meant to be a two-person. There are animals that don't require another being for procreation. There's some animals that can just procreate within themselves, however that goes down.
Right.
And so that's possible. That's not an impossible feat. We know that exists in the universe that we live in. We live on a planet with animals that can do that. But we were not designed that way. There's never been a human being that can reproduce within itself. And even human beings that were hermaphrodites, they're born with a male sex organ and female sex organs. In most cases, only one of those sets actually works. And in some cases, neither set works.
Mm.
Everything about how we continue our life as human beings is about the man and the woman coming together in union and the power that exists there. So the idea that you're just supposed to be alone, maybe there are some people out there who maybe it's just in the cards and they're not supposed to be with somebody. Okay, I'll buy that. But at the rate people are trying to go ahead and sell that notion, it's BS. It's because you're lazy. You refuse to do introspection. You refuse to see your flaws and fix them, and to be humble and say, you know what, I got it wrong. Let me go ahead and course correct now before it's too late. No, they want to go ahead and burn the clock out, and then when it's too late, they want to try and go ahead and get the result they should have had before, as if that's an option for them now. It's arrogance and it's hubris. None of us have. I keep stressing this whenever I get the chance to. None of us have infinite time. Nobody has that.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's not just with life, but opportunities. We don't get limitless opportunities. Sometimes you might only get one. There are men and women right now, I'm sorry to say it, it might not be a whole bunch, but there are some men and women right now your soulmate, the person for you, came along about 10, 15 years ago.
Real
You ain't
talk.
gonna get another one. I'm sorry.
Right.
Hell, I can be talking to myself. I can be talking to Ant. I can be talking to anybody out there. Reality is reality. You might have had that one and you blew it.
Mm-hmm.
There might be some people, every 15 minutes you can have a new potential person right in your face who is going to be just as good as with the others. Most of us fall somewhere in between. We can't play this game. You do not have infinite time to get it right. You do not have limitless opportunities. The great Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, it's not that we don't have enough time, it's that we waste so much of it. Stop your bullshit. Stop it, I say.
Let me
I'll park
add
my
this.
hydroplane.
Let me add this in there, man. I just want to add this one thing. You talk about people who making excuses and they're lazy and all that old stuff. I just want to throw this in there. And or you simply don't have what it takes. You can't leave that out because some people, they just don't have what it takes to be. They want this other person to be disciplined and be, respectful and considerate, and they just don't have it in them to be the same way. They simply don't qualify.
And not just that, but also have all this patience and acceptance for them who are nowhere near that.
There you go.
You want a disciplined person to be perfectly okay and understanding and even approving of your lack of discipline.
Right. Can't leave them out.
Shall I go get Santa Claus to pop up at the Christmas brunch for you as well?
All right, so we're about to get out of here, but I wanted to show this last video because I think one of the things, we love our sisters, we love our queens out there, but I think over the years we have men and women that I talked about this savior syndrome that they have. A lot of times you get involved into people, mates that have potential, and sometimes that potential can come back and burn you in the long run. So I want men and women to start getting people that's already situated or have a base foundation of building on. Not somebody who looks good, but they're actually a quicksand. So the moment you step on their playing field, you're actually sinking down with them. All right, so I want to show you this video, and you fellas could definitely grind us out for the night tonight on this video. But I think it's a very important video that all the women and men need to watch, because there's a lot of men, and I know somebody that has done something similar to this that this woman has done. All right.
You a good woman. You a good
Student loan.
It's a good woman
I
right
did.
there.
How much were the loans that you signed for?
This the real
Good question. 60,000.
Takia! 60,000 US dollars! That's a Toyota Camry!
Yes.
Was this hard? Was this Harvard? Yale? What school was this, goddamn?
LA Film School?
Wow.
Yes.
You did that for a dreamer?
Yes.
Film school?
A dreamer?
Did he graduate?
Takia! No! Takia, no! Takia! Takia! He didn't finish. Takia! Did he make a movie?
Did he make a documentary?
So here's the thing.
A short film?
Before he even finished, we were broken up.
Oh. Wow. Did he pay the loans back?
So here's the thing.
Oh.
Takia, you done said that lie, and every time you say it, it's bad stuff.
Here's the thing.
Bad stuff.
Here's the worst.
He never paid that loan.
Are they paid off now, or are you still paying?
So here's the thing.
Oh, Takia, stop saying that.
Tearing our asses up.
Jamie, it's terrible.
Here's the thing, is tearing our asses loose. I can't handle no more.
Here's the thing. I'm bankrupt right now. I'm not even supposed to be here, really. I actually stole this ticket off online.
The loan grew to $150,000. $170,000.
Takia, $170,000.
Yes.
Girl, you can buy a home.
Yes.
You can buy a house in South Carolina for cash with that.
Yes.
And that nigga ain't made no movie. That nigga ain't said executive produced by me ever.
All right, so I would never recommend that for any man or woman. I think situations like that, you need to be in a partnership, meaning you need to be married to make those type of sacrifices for somebody, not as a boyfriend who can definitely use you to get that. And like she said, before he could finish school, they broke up, but she still was left with the bag to pay. So this is why I say it was very important for us tonight to get into the direction of companionship and partnership, because a lot of times we run around here and do partnership shit with companions, and we get fucked over in the process of doing that. If you're gonna do something that can affect your life, do it with a mate that you are married to, not somebody that's playing house with. And I land my plane on that.
Wow. That shit was crazy, bro. My head is still exploding. My God. Yo, they say there's one born every minute. You dig? He saw her ass coming. You dig? And I'm all for people being nice and, wanting to help facilitate their significant other's dreams. But you got to understand, man, there's such a thing as being too nice and being a damn fool. You understand what I'm saying? And I learned this when I must have been 4 years old. My grandmother told me, don't you ever co-sign for anything for anybody. I guess this is why I'm so sharp, because my great-grandmother and my grandmother, they've been giving me gems literally since I was like 4. I knew about mafia conspiracies when I was 4, dude. Like, you dig? I'm talking about the details of them. Because this type of foolishness, it'll ruin your life. This woman is on the hook for $170,000. You know her credit is shot. Can she, never mind him and what he needed back then when they were together, can she even do things that she needs to do now? Can she purchase a car? Can she purchase a home with all this that she owes? And she only, mind you, she said she signed for loans with an S. So one of them was $60,000. They didn't even get to the other ones. People, we have to be a lot more strategic, and I love the way Anthony set this up so I can dovetail right into, partnership versus companionship. Because, and this is what I try to tell people who make excuses as to, I shouldn't marry, I can't marry, we live together, so that's good enough. That's bullshit. You understand? Because they can do exactly what happened to that girl to you. And it's usually the person who stands the most to gain that has a problem. You understand what I'm saying? With the commitment. You know what I'm saying? It's usually that person, because if you're married, there's a whole set of laws that govern you that says this person can't just leave you with that debt.
Yeah.
You all own that debt.
Correct.
You understand what I'm saying? But if you're not married, hey, up too bad, so sad, I'm on my way. And people need to be careful about leeches who will set you up to be like, nah, I don't believe in all that marriage stuff, to do some shit just like that. It's usually the person that has the most to gain that's got a problem with the whole marriage situation. Unless you just balling out of control like that and you don't want nobody to take half your shit, that's on the other spectrum. But usually, on the working man's, in the working man's zone, it's the person that has the most to gain that has a problem with marriage, and it's because they cannot do shit like that if they're married. Married means that you have to take legal responsibility for your shit.
Correct.
And sisters, I'm gonna need y'all to develop some standards and understand that if a dude wants to live with you and have babies with you and have a life with you and all that old shit, You need him to prove to you that he's willing to be legally responsible for his shit, or you can walk. I'm just saying.
Well said. Drake, take us out.
Take us out. That video damn near took me out.
Yeah, that shit was crazy.
Lord, I was getting heart palpitations. My pulse was erratic. Jesus.
It's crazy, bro.
But again, this is why I have never, I'm not talking, and again, probably the way I was brought up, but I have never at any point in time ever been an advocate for or desired to play house. That is absolutely crazy.
It's corny.
And I feel for the sister, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know if this is the wave that she's on, so I'm not going to necessarily demonize her and persecute her for it, but where are all of the marriage is just a piece of paper. We don't need to go to the courthouse and put it on a piece of paper. We don't need to say in our business. We've got love. We have love. We don't need that. That's the white man's thing. When we got married in Africa, we did not need to have all this nonsense. Okay, cool. Cool story, bro. Cool story, sis. So enjoy your 100K plus rack of debt. How about that?
Almost two.
That you can't even split. Never mind giving it back to them. You can't even split this with them because you took it out on their behalf. Nope. You just gave them a gift, and because you all are not legally married to one another, there is no obligation that the state has to enforce the fact that this person needs to go ahead and reimburse you. Oh, interestingly enough, marriage is just a piece of paper. You don't need to get the state involved in your affairs, but you went to the state to try and file that lawsuit to go ahead and get the payment.
Come on now.
So you want to go to the state when you want to, but you want to leave them alone when you want. Interesting.
Come on.
Look, the reality is, no matter what you say about it, we live in an era, unfortunately, where people's word does not hold any weight. It should, and there are a handful, if even that, of people out there who still their word is their bond, and even if they get screwed on the deal, no matter what, they're going to uphold the arrangement and the agreement because their word is that solid. There are a handful of them out there. Most people ain't like that. Hell, a lot of people will go ahead and squelch on the deal when they're still benefiting from it. Never mind when it goes sour on them. So the reality is, it is useful to have a whole system set up that enforces that it brings protections for both parties. Now, if you're too dumb to navigate that properly and operate within the confines of your arrangement, that's on you. Don't complain about you cheated on your significant other and now they divorced you and taken half. When you were too stupid and you had to cheat on you couldn't bother to just get divorced and leave first. I don't want to hear that. But this is a running theme of people who run from and shun accountability. You don't want to get married because you have an outside entity that's going to hold you accountable. That's what the problem is. You can't cut and run when you're done playing your game. Someone's going to hold your feet to the fire and say, nah, my guy, nah, my girl. See this L? It's yours.
Real talk.
Feliz Navidad. That's what the real problem is. And this happens all the livelong day. Student loans, rental arrangements, car payments, joint accounts. Has to be battles with children. The list goes on and on and on. When you go and do marital things with non-marital people, I mean, my God, this is the biggest reason why we will never run out of Judge Judy's and Judge Mathis's and People's Courts. We gonna have those shows until the end of the world. Because y'all, for no other reason, because y'all people keep on doing things out of order. You keep putting the cart before the horse and are confused as to why the damn thing won't go nowhere. Order and structure are actually your friends. It could be a headache if that's not what you're accustomed to in the beginning. Yes, I understand that. But if you take the time out to go ahead and reframe your brain, to switch up how you operate, you will find that you will make out a lot better than those people who just love to dwell in anarchy and chaos.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that. You keep on trying to change the game. You keep on trying to rewrite the rules, reinvent the wheel, remake fire, and you keep getting burned. You keep on getting flattened. At some point, you got to get sick and tired of taking the L.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be a perpetual loser. Again, if the person is not willing to go ahead and make this ultimate commitment to you, why would you feel safe taking out a car payment in the name, co-signing on a loan for them? How about them getting an apartment when you know that you're going to be on the hook for that? Why do it? And if you're going to do it, if you just want to be a martyr that bad, go right ahead. But no one wants to hear you complain.
Come on now.
I sure don't. Maybe I'll speak for me. I don't want to hear you complain. I don't want to hear you whine. And don't come tell me, because the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you, did you do X, Y, Z? And the minute I hear, what did the sister say? Not what happened was, but she said, what was the other thing she said? Every time she said it, they're like, it keeps on getting worse. The sister, who took out the loan?
Mm-hmm.
Every time she said it, they're like, it keeps on getting worse.
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I don't want to hear that nonsense. But yeah, we've got to do better. You have to be better. I don't know why we keep seeing and hearing about these stories and keep on thinking that it's not going to be us. I don't know how we got that arrogant, or what kind of lucky streaks we've had in life to where we think that somehow we're just not going to get hit with the ass end of consequences. I don't know. But come on, at some point, do better, be better. And I'm hoping the people who saw this don't turn around and say, dang, she got messed up. Okay, babe, how much is that loan that you want to take out? $60,000. Okay, babe. She's stupid.
Real talk.
To those who know better and don't do it, it's a sin. And that's spiritual. That's biblical right there.
Yeah.
To he or she who knows to do right and doesn't do it, that's sin. All right, now. Be a dumbass on purpose if you want to be.
Well said.
Well said. All right. So, guess what? Next week, no show. Shout out to all my fantasy football people. Next week is a draft for the fantasy football leagues. I got 3 of them next week. So everybody out there that is doing fantasy football, good luck to y'all. Hope you guys have a great season. Hopefully I get a championship again this year. So, let's see what that entails. But football season started. So whether you're a companion or a partner, give your man some grace for the next 6 months. All right. So we're out of here. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. We'll see you, I think that is, September 8th. All right?
All right.
See you September 8th. Y'all be safe. Y'all be easy. And we out.
And before we leave, you know what we're going to tell you. Like, share, subscribe. Tell somebody. Put us on, man. Go ahead and give somebody the game. Give somebody the gift that keeps on giving. Manversations 2020. We in this thing. No excuses.
Manversations. Man up. Manversations. Man up. Manversations. Man up. Manversations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manversations. Man up. Manversations. Man up. Manversations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manversations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You gotta eat what you kill. You gotta go out there. You gotta hunt for your meals.
We all have that ability to connect with people, to be that motivational person in somebody's life.
You gotta let people know there's certain lines you don't cross.
and that there's gonna be consequences if you do.
Man up.
If you are an adult and you are in a relationship, that person's emotions are not your responsibility.
Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
The devil, during slavery, destroyed the masculinity or manhood of the so-called Negro. No man. No man. Right now you got to be trained all over again to be a man.
When someone is obligated to do something, it is binding upon them to do it. And failure to do it causes reaction.
Man up.
Position make you rich? I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life forever.
If that people knew that glorious path, if that people knew that glorious path, if that people knew that glorious path, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You want to tell me about yourself? Go get your friends. I'll tell you who you are based on who your friends are.
Don't just live and die. That's an ugly existence. Make your life matter, make your life count. Live a life where people can actually mourn you for the things you left behind, not just because you were around and existed.
We need strong black nuclear family.
Yes. Yes.
That's what it is. Mother, father, son, daughter, all in the same house with a focus on the family unit as a whole.
We had Tulsa, Atlanta, New Jersey, Detroit. We had Rosewood. We had Black Wall Streets all over.
The Republicans aren't for us, but the Democrats aren't for us either. And we should have no alliance to any political party. We only have alliance to what is in our own best
A
interest.
place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation.